Hi everyone, Nanette here from Potential Action. Thank you for joining me on this short video. Meditation and its benefits have been featured in a lot of popular media. If you're like many, you might be looking to get into meditation but feel overwhelmed about how or where to start. I've created a series of short videos to help provide some guidance on the basics of meditation. If you've watched the rest of this series, you'll have heard me speak on a number of occasions on the importance of a regular practice. But you might be wondering where and how to start. Or perhaps you've tried in the past but have been challenged to stick with it over the long term. In this session, I'll go over the basics of selecting a practice and some tips and tricks to sticking with it. You may have heard in popular media how even just 2 to 5 minutes of meditation for a week or two can already help you start to realize the many benefits of meditation. If this is the case, why would you want to strive for or put the effort into a daily practice? The Mind and Life Institute is an organization devoted to producing quality scientific studies on meditation. They were also curious about this question and have done some interesting research on the topic. As opposed to much research out there on meditation, the Mind and Life Institute has banded together with experienced meditators, like the Dalai Lama himself, to explore the brains of what they affectionately refer to as Olympic-level meditators. One of the more significant findings of their key researchers and founding members, Drs. Daniel Goleman and Richard Davidson, is what they refer to as state versus trait. This describes the experience many new meditators will probably be able to relate to, where you find that you're experiencing mindful awareness on your cushion or perhaps even calmer moments during your day. However, the conditions really have to be right to get in touch with it. And you may find it inaccessible during more crucial moments when your stress or anger gets the better of you. However, to realize the full benefits of meditation, covered in the Why Meditate video, you want that mindful awareness to be what they call a state, where essentially it becomes your default mode of being. It seems with meditation, as with many things in life, practice makes perfect. Meditation is a catch-all word for a variety of contemplative practices. Just as the word exercise refers to a wide range of activities and types of physical activity. In fact, it's easy to think of meditation like exercise for your brain. Just as there are different exercises like strength training or aerobics with different benefits and aims, there are different types of meditation practices that focus on and enhance or cultivate different aspects of contemplative practice. Some common types of meditation you may have heard of are Vipassana, or insight meditation, which focuses on understanding the true nature of reality and suffering and tends to enhance attention, concentration, and introspection. Loving kindness focuses on and enhances empathy and compassion. Mindfulness-based stress reduction, or MBSR, brings a medical science focus and aims to deal more specifically with stress, anxiety, and depression. And Zazen has a more disciplined approach to meditation and also enhances attention, concentration, and introspection. I covered only a few types of meditation. There are a myriad to choose from, which can make knowing where to start confusing. Keep in mind, just as with exercise, the benefits come from finding a practice you stick with. The best meditation is always the one you do. Also, in my experience, choosing a practice is a very personal endeavor. My best advice is to try out a few different types to see what you're most drawn to. My other piece of advice is to trust your gut. You know you the best. After all, you're the only person that's lived with you the longest and knows you from the inside out. Don't be afraid to experiment and adapt. There are very few right or wrong ways. try to be dynamic and fluid with it. Every day will be different, and what appeals to you at the beginning may not be as appealing as your practice matures. The one you do. Regardless of how you choose to meditate, starting a daily practice can be a bit of a challenge. You're starting a new habit, which is always tricky business. I'll go over some of the science behind creating a new habit and cover some helpful tips and tricks to get you started with your best foot forward. Before I jump into the science on building a new habit, there's 5 things about the brain you should know to put the science of habit into context. First, the brain hardwires often to conserve energy. As I've mentioned earlier, the brain is big on energy conservation. While it's only 2% of your body mass, your brain consumes 20% of your oxygen and nutrients. As a result, the brain hardwires repeated tasks to conserve energy. These are the tasks we do on autopilot. Secondly, we think in maps. The underlying functionality of our brain is to create association, connections, and links between information. Our thoughts, memories, skills, and attributes are a vast set of connections, or maps, joined together via complex chemical and physical pathways. And there are unlimited ways information can map together. Hence, no two brains are alike. While the overarching structure of our brains are the same, the contents or maps are unique. Neuroscientists have found that our environment and experience literally shapes the physical nature of our brains. You have your own unique map because no one else has had your specific set of experiences. Fourth, new maps are easy to create. For most of the 20th century, scientists believed brain structure was relatively unchanging after early childhood. But current findings are telling us many aspects of the brain remain plastic, that is, changeable, even into adulthood. This flexibility of the brain is called neuroplasticity. In fact, our brains love making connections so much that there are a host of feel-good chemicals that are released when we make a new map. Know that sensation when you have an aha or light bulb moment? That's the sensation of a new map being made. However, existing maps are hard to change. Since our brains are big on energy conservation, it prescribes the use it or lose it policy. New maps need to be constantly reinforced until they become established. If they aren't, they'll be pruned and disposed of. Your brain has been prescribing to the Marie Kondo method since the dawn of modern humans. So what does this all have to do with forming new habits? Well, the key takeaway here is that new habits require reinforcement before they become established, and that if something isn't given attention, eventually it'll be pruned. This means the best way to tackle new habits is to reinforce the new and let go of the old. Think of it like this. If you had a path you walked every day through the forest, likely it would stay a dirt path even if you didn't use it for a week or two. However, if you wanted to make a new path, you need to clear out the forest, then very diligently walk at least once a day. If you miss even a few days, the path will already start to grow in and you'll have to do the work of clearing it again. Over time, though, the new path would become an established dirt path, and the old one would be filled in by the forest. So the best thing to do with a new habit is to tend to it a little bit every day until it becomes established, and ignore the old habit so it starts to fill back in. There are many different types of reinforcements available, but I'm going to focus on 5 you can put into place quickly and easily. Make it easy to do, establish a routine, avoid negative self-talk, reward yourself liberally, and get support from others. Let's look at each of these in a bit more detail. It's very easy for us to slip into old habits because we don't have to put any effort into using those paths. So make it as easy as possible to take the new path. Think of all the physical and mental barriers that might come up during your day where it would be easy to make an excuse to not do your meditation. Things like having a space set aside that you can jump right into, or maybe you're not a morning person, so try to make it part of your bedtime routine. Expecting too much too early is a surefire demoralizer when you're trying to set up a new practice. Keep your aims low in the beginning and easily accomplishable. This means keeping the space simple. You don't have to redesign a whole room just for meditation. And don't expect to be in a room that's completely quiet and shut off from everyone and everything. If you wait until the moment is perfect, you'll never practice. Learn to accept what is as a part of your meditation practice and work with letting it go as you bring your focus onto that one point you've selected for your meditation. Also, start by sitting for just 2 minutes. Then, when that feels easy, start to do 5, and then 7, and so on. Gently ease yourself, keeping it attainable, but just ever so slightly outside your comfort zone to keep it interesting. Consistency is key when reinforcing a new habit. Try, if you can, to keep your meditation at the same time and place every day for the first 4 to 6 weeks. Also try to stick with the same meditation practice. After the habit's established, then you'll find you can slip in and out of your routine and try new practices. However, negative self-talk will be exceptionally detrimental to starting a new practice for a few reasons. First, you'll start to link the new habit to negative rather than positive feelings, making it even harder to feel motivated to get into it, as you'll start dreading it rather than looking forward to it. Also, the mind doesn't hear the word not or don't. If I told you right now, don't think about elephants, what's the only thing you're thinking about? Probably elephants. This is because as soon as the brain receives the message elephants, it starts a chain reaction of connecting the various pathways in your brain associated with the word elephant. So not only does your negative self-talk demoralize, it also helps to reinforce the wrong circuitry. Avoid berating yourself for missing a day or 2, or even 10, or not doing it right. Think of yourself like a child learning to walk. If you fall down, simply pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and keep telling yourself you can do this. See if you can catch yourself doing things right or recognize when things are going well. Not only does this help to quell the negative self-talk, it is also a necessary precursor to the next point. Whenever you catch yourself doing something right, reward yourself. It doesn't have to be something large. In fact, your brain's reward center will experience just as much activity over a large reward as a small reward. It all helps to reinforce the new circuitry. Something many people often don't do because it seems a little hokey is tracking their progress. Have a calendar. Note the days that you do your meditation. After your first success doing your practice 2 or 3 consecutive days, give yourself a small reward. Even just a mental pat on the back or a little sticker on the calendar goes a long way. After a couple of weeks or a month perhaps, you might invest in something slightly larger, like maybe a cushion or a new crystal or gem for your meditation space. Whatever makes you feel good. What's important to note is that the reward doesn't have to be large or expensive to be an effective reinforcer. In fact, small rewards more frequently are more effective. When training animals, a trainer will often have a small treat they can dispense every time the animal performs correctly. Our brains share a lot of similarities with animals. We're not so different that we're immune to the benefits of small rewards when training ourselves to start a new habit. Finally, seek a friend or family member who will support you in creating your new habit of meditation. This might look like doing the meditation together. Those who have strong people-pleasing tendencies will find this a very powerful motivator because you won't want to let the other person down by not showing up. Another way to elicit help is to have someone be your meditation coach. They can check in on you on a daily or weekly basis to ask if you've done your meditation. Humans are very social beings, and having someone to hold you accountable to following through is a powerful motivator. You could also look at joining a meditation group, either in person or virtual. You'll find like-minded people who can share your experience, both the good and the bad, and you may find this sense of community bolsters your practice. This session covered a variety of topics on having a daily practice, including how a daily practice helps you reap all the benefits of meditation and mindfulness by making it a state rather than just a trait. We also looked at some common types of practice, like Vipassana, Compassion, MBSR. And in choosing a practice, the best one is the one you do. So experiment, trust your gut, and don't be afraid to change your practice as it evolves. And finally, we looked at how starting and sticking with your meditation practice is no different than any new habit. And we covered 5 things you can do to help reinforce your new meditation habit. Make it easy to do, establish a routine, avoid negative self-talk, reward yourself liberally, and get support from others. I hope this short video has given you a sense of how to start and stick with a meditation practice. And if it's piqued your interest, I encourage you to check out the videos in the rest of the Meditation Basics series and the different types of meditation videos that we'll be releasing in the weeks to come. Thank you for joining, and happy meditation.